Sky News can reveal Donald Trump's first comments on Australia's ambassador to the United States, Kevin Rudd. In an exclusive interview with GB News, to air for the first time in Australia on Sky News, Donald Trump says Kevin Rudd won't last long if he's re-elected. For the detail now, let's bring in Washington correspondent Annalise Nielsen. Annalise, good morning to you. So what else did Donald Trump have to say?
Look, this is a fascinating interview and we can share an excerpt of this in just a moment. This has been a live question in Washington, D.C. How will Kevin Rudd fare if Donald Trump does come back as president of the United States? And right now he is polling ahead of Joe Biden and he is the presumptive nominee for the Republican Party. So the discussion in Washington has been that Kevin Rudd would be fine despite the previous critical comments he'd made of Donald Trump, calling him destructive to democracy. He's confident that he has the support of the diplomatic community, and Australian sources have been telling me that they're very confident he would be able to do that job and that they're very in with the Trump crowd, even if he hasn't met with Donald Trump since becoming ambassador. But in what we see in this interview is a very different story. Donald Trump, when having that perspective put to him about the previous critical comments that Kevin Rudd had made about Donald Trump, he didn't seem all too pleased with the idea of him staying on as ambassador if Donald Trump does return to the White House.
We also got China to think about, and our friends at Sky News Australia wanted me to ask you this. The AUKUS deal that's in place on nuclear submarines, America, the UK, Australia, very, very important deal. It's there to try and combat that huge growth, naval growth in China. But now, of course, things have changed in Australia. We've got a Labour government in Australia. The previous ambassador, Joe Hockey, I think was quite a good friend of yours. You got on pretty well with him. Now they've appointed Kevin Rudd, former Labour MP. I mean, he has said the most horrible things. You were a destructive president, a traitor to the West, and he's now Australia's ambassador in Washington.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Would you take a phone call from him?
He won't be there long if that's the case. I don't know much about him. I heard he was a little bit nasty. I hear he's not the brightest bulb, but I don't know much about him. But if he's at all hostile, he will not be there long.
Look, Australia enjoys a lot of bipartisan support on Capitol Hill, but in the delicate world of diplomacy, this is an extraordinary statement from Donald Trump that will no doubt have many repercussions in the year to come.